Without going any further, I'm going to welcome Caroline Nashami, who is going to read the bio of the person who is going to be speaking to us today. Karibu sana, Caro.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to welcome the speaker of today. Otieno Paul Peter is a serial entrepreneur. He realized his love for business when he was in class 6. Just imagine, class 6, where he managed to successfully run his first business with the sole aim of buying snacks during break times in school, but managed to achieve much more out of the same. Since then, he has always made use of these inherent talents as a source of his livelihood wherever he has been. When he finished his undergraduate degree in the University of Nairobi, where he graduated with a degree in physics, specializing in computation physics, he was briefly employed as an ICT trainer and then a support engineer in two different organizations before taking an early retirement from active employment to follow his passion to building businesses. Otieno Paul Peter then started two business organizations. One is ICT, Gurus East Africa Limited, which provides email and web hosting services. This has grown to be a highly dependable service provider beyond the Kenyan borders. It was actually inspired by his love for branding businesses, as he will gladly inform you today. The second company is Live Your Dream Enterprises Limited, which is actually the mother of Power Monday. Live Your Dream is known for providing simple, practicable, and inspiring training services that enable people to grow in their business and professional lives in order to live their dreams. Today, Live Your Dream has impacted thousands and thousands of lives directly and otherwise through talks, training, and team building. I am one of those people who've been impacted. Besides this, Otieno Paul Peter is a perpetual student of life in the field of leadership, psychology, spirituality, ICT, physics, philosophy, among others. He has authored 2 great books and is currently undertaking a Master's of Science degree in psychology at Liverpool John Moores University, London. Otieno Paul Peter, the pleasure and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nashami. I'm glad to have known you as well. And this is part of our life, sharing information that would change lives. You know, when I was when I was growing up, I kept asking myself about what makes some people successful and others not. And success in this case meant being happy and well-to-do in life, because I grew up in a village where many people were struggling for everything, including our family. We borrowed everything. And for people who've read my book, Live Your Dream in 7 Ds, you probably already read about this. We had a neighbor who was fairly well-to-do, had a son who was a senior justice in Kenya. I think he's still there. And that's the place where we used to see a vehicle come to, a vehicle guarded with armed police officers. They had lots of what we would call material things. And we would go borrow there, go borrow salt, then you come, then you realize, you start with the matchbox, you come realize, oh, you have no salt, you go borrow salt, then along the way you realize, oh, even the little flour you had for ugali is not going to be sufficient, you go. Then at one point she asked me, do you people think that I operate a shop? And that thing kept tormenting me for years. Why is it that some people are not as successful, are struggling with life? And I discovered it's really not academics, because I met enough people who are saying I was brilliant in school, I did this, I was number one. That included my dad. And so growing up, my personal aim and mission was, one day I will look for the reason that makes some people to be successful in life, to be happy and achieving and living their dream, while others don't. And along the way, I realized it's the difference. It's the extra learning. It is the soft skills. It's nothing to be taught within the four walls of classroom. And that ultimately became the Live Your Dream, the mission for Live Your Dream as an organization. And so what I'm doing is really part of what has been my passion from the beginning. And ICT Gurus was started out of also my love for supporting businesses. I worked as an ICT trainer, and I was helping people to learn their ways with computers and even supporting people with their computers. I was just mesmerized by computers because that was part of technology I was learning. I was very inquisitive, and still I am. I always want to understand how things work. And sometimes it would it would amaze me that some people really don't bother, that when you tap on an A, it appears on the screen. That is, those days I was using a desktop computer. So I always wanted to learn how things work and therefore share them. So when I left teaching, and then I started supporting customers, supporting their internet connection, their web problem, browsing problem, their email problems and things like that. People started calling me every other time, even when I was on leave. And then when I was leaving employment, I felt like maybe this is something I can always do, because in the future, it appeared that there would not be enough organizations, most of the SME, where I am very passionate about, who are able to even hire an ICT professional. And as I kept doing that, it bothered me that many people were not any serious about what image they were portraying for their businesses. And enough times I would guide people, I would show them how they can even access a domain and have some sort of branding for their businesses. But it didn't really look like it's a bother to them. And that brings the topic for today. And because at Live Your Dream, part of what we do is we train people about selling. At this point, I'd like to ask, where does branding fall? Is it part of selling, or selling is part of branding? I want to talk about the three things. I'd like somebody to maybe share about three things: marketing, selling, and branding. How do they relate, those three things? How do they relate? Maybe somebody would be happy to share how you think they relate. The branding, marketing, and selling. How do they relate? Or what is selling in your opinion at this point? Because that will be able to help us. And I love it when people share their thoughts. Yes?
Good morning. Can I share what I think?
Go ahead, Maurice.
Thank you very much. I think, first of all, that branding is a subset or one of those things under marketing, and it's about increasing customer awareness about you and the products that you are selling. increasing your position in the market in terms of people knowing what you're doing. And selling is now the conversion. Marketing and branding is just about awareness raising, positioning yourself for the market to know what you do, what you have, what differentiates you from competition. But really, selling is what makes the difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maurice. Yeah, I love your language, subset. That tells me you probably did set theory in college. Yeah. So, branding or generally marketing, and this is a good thing to understand, is branding is a subset of marketing in a way. And as far as I am concerned, and that is the philosophy of Live Your Dream for people who attended some of our sales training, marketing somewhat falls within the terrain of selling. Many of us always think that selling is the exchange for money, for service, for money or commodity or something like that. But that is just a part of what selling entails. So when you're running a business, you will expect some transactions to take place. But where does it start? It starts from where Maurice is talking about awareness. And that is the role of branding. There is a reason people buy from you. They don't just wake up and meet you and buy from you. It doesn't work like that. There is what we call a selling process, which starts from that awareness. People have to be aware of what you have or about you. And so we always talk about why people buy and why do they buy? Yes, why do they buy? Yes, I wouldn't like anybody in my class to say or to respond to that, but I'd like somebody else who's never attended any of our trainings to respond to that. Why do they buy? Yeah. Immaculate, why do they buy from you?
Okay,
Because
go ahead, Immaculate.
people buy from you because of the way you package yourself and also because they like you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, Caroline?
Yeah, I want to say sometimes I buy products because of the way the seller has created a unique product or service. There's a way they have developed it and also branded it. Like it's unique from the others that look similar.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. So I love the way you approach it. Sometimes I buy. So you buy.
Yes.
Mostly you'll realize if you do a survey is people buy because one, they know you. So for you to notice all those brands and packaging, whatever, you already know about that particular brand. And number two, which is critical, is you like them. And that's what Immaculate says. So they've got to know, they've got to like, and most critically, they've got to trust. You see, is it credible? You see, so if we are not going to make our brand, one, to be known, two, to be trusted, you're building some credibility, to be liked and trusted. You want to build some credibility in the face of your prospects. Then knowing you is just one of those things. And this is now what is very critical. Sometimes people think they will buy because of price, and it's nothing like that. It's not the price. Sometimes you think they will buy because your product is the best. It doesn't matter if it's the best. If they don't know it and they don't trust it, they won't buy it. So they've got to know, like, and trust that particular brand. And that becomes squarely your work as the entrepreneur. And the question is, therefore, how do you do that? What is your strategy? And that's where now being serious with your branding becomes a key. What do they see? Do they see something that they can believe in, that they can trust, that they can like? If you win that particular battle at that particular point, then you're on the right track. The rest will flow easily. You will lead to transaction. Yes, many of you know about the sales funnel if you've been in business. Yeah, you get lots of prospects. I love using the example of when you stand in the streets of a major city like Nairobi, lots of people passing there. Maybe you're selling books, like I see people selling books, or they are selling handkerchiefs. Lots of people will pass there whom they view as prospects. Then enough of them will will have a look at it and maybe ask about the prices. And then even much fewer will be able to buy, actually pay money to pick that product. And that's the way it works in all business environment. Lots of people need to know about you and like you and trust you so that some of them will be able to buy you. And now, what does it mean to buy? To buy does not mean paying money for your brand or for your product. To buy simply means believing in it, and therefore they can easily and even involuntarily recommend it for somebody else. Now, those are different schools of thought. Maybe you've never thought about it. If I like your brand, I will be your salesperson. I will recommend it to other people. And because of my enthusiasm about your brand, they will be able to pick your brand. They will be able to give you money for that particular service or for that particular product. But if I don't buy it, I will not recommend anybody to take it. I will recommend maybe your competition. And usually that's what you want. You want enough people to be able to know your brand, like, and trust it so that they can buy it. And the moment they buy it, they become part of your team, knowingly or otherwise. And that's why if you check the way you are every single day, you're selling certain brands. You're selling them knowingly or otherwise. Somebody asks, I'd like to buy a television set. Which one do you recommend? I'd like to buy a phone. Which one do you recommend? I'd like to buy a vehicle. I'm thinking of, and you will always recommend something, because that actually means you're selling it. You're selling for them because you've bought that particular brand. Now, that is what we want our organizations to be. Yeah, and that's why, for example, people will recommend our Live Your Dream, because maybe we've interacted with them, we've done for them training. When they hear somebody looking for a certain training, they'll give our contacts. They'll say, get in touch with these people, and we end up doing that particular business. You see, now the same thing happens maybe with our ICT gurus. Most times you don't see us doing aggressive marketing about that, but we are building a strong brand such that all the people we've interacted with, they somewhat just keep recommending us, and it grows organically. Now, starting, how do you start your branding? And guess where the first step is? And this is why I talked about, the topic was about essentials, just essentials. The first point is in the name. You'll be surprised. I've been dealing with small business people for a good number of years now. Yeah, at one point we were, and I think it's an ongoing program. They just keep doing it in cohorts. We've been doing some mentorship for some clients, the business people for equity. And meeting people, you realize that they don't take seriously some mundane things like name. You realize that your name is bigger than the name of your organization, the name of your business. You're as good as somebody who is selling chips by the roadside. Yeah, what I call trading. You're just trading. You really have no business. You're just doing some trading to make ends meet. There is no vision in that particular business. There is no long range thinking. So you want to build a name. Yeah, many of us already know that a name can be very, very important. You see, if you and your business are one and the same thing, then when you go to a funeral, then your business has gone to a funeral. When you attend a wedding, your business is at a wedding. The business is not there. You are the business. And when you build a relationship, your customer relationship with you as an individual, then you have no business. You are the business. The question is, are you the business? So you want the name of your business to grow and become more popular and known. Well, you could also be known, but those are two separate brands. You and your business are two separate brands. Otieno Paul Peter as a brand is separate from Live Your Dream, is separate from ICT Gurus. So all those entities need to grow on their own and be known and trusted and liked on their own capacity, not necessarily because I am there. And that, it starts with the name. Just like when you give birth to a child, you want them to become independent at some point, you give them a name so that they are referred to by their names. I hope that is clear. I hope that is very clear. Please, it doesn't matter if you are thinking of starting a business or being serious in business in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. By the way, I love to say you are better off starting today than tomorrow, because when you start today and giving it a name, then tomorrow you will have gained 1 day experience, which is much better than 0 experience. Yeah, enough people, even when they are in employment, they will start some business besides. They are not running it all the time. It's probably not even making any money, but it has a name and they are building on that brand, such that along the way, when they wake up and start doing business, that we're running that business, they will say, we are 5 years old. We are 5 years in the business. Maybe those 5 years, there was no single transaction. But they've been building a name. They want to build credibility. They want to be trusted. So they will bring in that element of a name. If it doesn't have a name, you cannot talk about how long it's been in existence. When people ask for a certificate of registration, you don't have it. So we want to have a name that becomes our first element of identity. And number 2, we want to have some color related to it. You see, when we see people, we say, this is tall, this is short, this is big, this is light skin, this is dark, whatever. We always want to identify people. We know this is a lecturer, this is a trainer, this is a business person, this is a salesperson, whatever it is. So you also want your business to be identified. And part of that identity would be color. If you are looking for a bank and you get some green, you definitely know that is not Equity Bank. Yes? When you get, when you are buying maybe scratch card and you get some red, you get some green, you know that is not Airtel. Yeah, Airtel is associated with red. So the question is, when people mention your organization, what color flickers in their mind? You may want to do that because you want to bring in a brand. You want to make people to be able to remember and talk about it. And at least when they hear somebody talking about it, there is a picture that comes to their mind. In last week, talking about personal branding, John talked about visibility, being visible. Yes, as the key word there, being visible. And the question is, how visible are you? How visible is your brand? Yeah, enough of us would hide behind, while it appears we also represent our brands. So we need to identify a certain color or set of colors. Yes, and it really doesn't matter to me. Ideally, it doesn't really matter what color it is. By the end of the day, it is how you build on it and the trust that people will develop. Some people are scared of red, but some organizations have built their strong red to the extent that it's what flickers in the mind. Some people maybe don't like yellow, but some other people have built their yellow brand and it is what is there. Yeah, people have different opinions, but whatever you want to believe, please have a name, have some color that relates with it. Another thing is a logo. And at one point we were discussing in some TV interview, is it more important to have an expensive logo? It was designed by so-and-so, it costed 100,000, or it costed 5,000. Which logo makes more sense? Which is, how should your logo be? Yes? Anybody would like to say, should it be expensive? Should it be cheap? Does it matter? That is, about your logo. Yeah, I've helped enough people come up with logos, and I remember somebody told me a few years ago, you know, this is a big organization. It was just a startup. We had just helped register. This is going to be big, yeah. So we want a very serious logo. So I really wasn't able to understand what a serious logo is. Anybody would like to comment on that?
PP.
Yes.
Morethi here. My hand is up. Maybe you didn't see
Yes.
it. For me, I don't think it really matters. For me, that's from where I sit, because I cannot stand. From where I sit, I don't think it really matters. Because what I think matters is, how do you market? How do you, how do you market? How do you make it visible? And then the content. I think because people just need some identity. Let me give an example. Like in Tony J Enterprises, I do the design of the logo. I'm the one who did it. Just something simple, word, and then it has just a few initials. So I don't really think that it is expensive or not. It is what do you do with that logo? My thought. And then you will see even some companies, they have just something very small, maybe like a straight line or a tick or something, and it works. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is something that disturbs lots of people. And to me, what disturbs people is usually very simple. People are just looking for identity. They just want to have something with which they can identify you. Let's say you're going to buy a TV. You want to know that this one is, let's say, LG. Yes, did I see LG here? Yes, you want to know this is LG TV. All you want to know is this their logo? Yeah. If you find something else written LG, but you can't see their logo, you want to doubt. Maybe this is a fake one. Yeah. Is this the logo for Nike? Is this what? Yeah, for people who buy such shoes, Nike. This is the enough people say no. Their take is never like this. So the question is just but an identity. It's not the beauty and complexity and all that. In fact, people really don't bother. In fact, people always think about even the very, very details of text and whatever, which is important. But to me, that identity is what is important. It doesn't matter where it was designed, who designed it, as long as you can relate with it and you market it. And that's just the way it is. In people's minds, they just want to know this is that organization. This is that particular company. Good. Now,
if you've realized, OPP,
yes,
people actually, identity is very important and the logos are very important. Say, for example, you like VW and Audi Center. Maybe I have an Audi. I definitely walk into a logo that is like a V and like a W, and a logo is important because it tries and demystifies you from the rest of the people. People buy Apple products because Apple has been there. Like, you just want Apple products because they know these are genuine. Samsung, for example, unasikia watu wanasema people are just, Samsung is so expensive, Apple is products are so expensive, but they still buy. And people say they're buying because of the logo, but Techno and Samsung can do the same thing, So logos are very important, and if you hack that, I mean, you're good to go.
Thank you very much, Immaculate. Yeah. It's very important to have that logo, and it's part of your identity. It's like the signature for your company. It is like your identity as an individual, your signature. Now for your company, that is like the signature. It's very important. And basically all these things are meant to identify you, but the question is, how do you want them to identify you? And that is where we started from. Yes, you want them to identify you as a struggling organization, as a non-trusted organization. How do you want them to identify you? How would you like to be? And that's the whole purpose of marketing. Yes, and the whole purpose of branding. Now, the next thing, and this is where my pain started, that I see an organization that is, they claim they are startup. You know, nobody cares, by the way, outside there when they want to do business with you, whether you are a big organization or startup, because you are going to compete with other people in your same industry who've been there long enough, and therefore they've built more credibility over the years. So do you want to appear like you want support? You want to be supported to grow? Yes? Then you may not be the right person to bid for that particular job or to look for that particular business. So you want to brand yourself to look like you can also be trusted. You can also be believed on. Yes, you can deliver. And that's why everything that goes around the public image of your organization is going to be very critical. Now, I used to see people coming and they are contented using Gmail. Yes, XYZ Company Limited at gmail.com. And I would ask, how about if Barclays would say Barclays Bank at gmail.com? How many of you would go put their money there? It doesn't work. You see, what does it display? It's simply something that you can't imagine. Now, when you put your organization and you are now using some Yahoo, whatever at yahoo.com, whatever at gmail.com, and all that, it simply displays that this is not a credible organization. Everyone can put a Gmail. Everyone can put a Yahoo. Live your dream at gmail.com. It doesn't have to be us. Somebody else may have seen that name and goes ahead and creates it and starts to do to pretend as if they are us. They masquerade. You see, in developing credibility, you cannot wish away this. And by the way, in building your brand, even you as an individual, because you are working in your organization, when you have an email, for example, I have PP at Live Your Dream. When people are giving their emails, I'm attending an event, maybe a wedding committee, these things that people are usually called for, and you are putting your email there. Put the email of your organization. Put the email, your work email. Just like if you are working for some bank, I see people love putting their organizations, their employer's email address. Yeah, I don't know about Murithi. I don't know whether Murithi puts the one for 20J or for Safaricom. Yeah, because we want to be related to big brands. Yes, I'm working for KCB Bank. So whatever, Otieno PP at KCB Bank, KCB Group, whatever it is, .co.ke. No, you are marketing that particular organization. It's the same way you're marketing Google when you do at Gmail, or marketing Yahoo or Outlook when you use their brands. So use your own brand wherever you are. Just put it there. Yeah, I know part of the biggest problem that has happened to many small organizations. This is why this part of what we wanted to address is you have an email that you are not sure how to use, or maybe it's not even working at all. You see, so please, it's important to always ensure that you are using your organization's email address. Now, going on, and time seems to be running great. Yes, someone is still making noise, and it will make me just disable this unmute thing. So the other thing is having an online presence, which is what we discussed last week. But remember, online presence is one thing. What does it display about you? That is the issue. If you have some simple website and it's looking good, that's fine. But if you have something that seems like it's shaky, it's not, it doesn't show any good image about it. It's like you walked out for a business meeting, but you're not dressed well. So that impression that your prospects are going to see will always make them have an opinion about you. So if you're going to have a website, you better have a good website. Yes, I know there are thoughts about this. You have some single page, you have some domain that is borrowed somewhere and whatever. Please just ensure it is something that you can be proud of. It's something that can be trusted, can build that trust in your clients. You see, so please ensure that using your available resources, there is nothing as bad for a business as having trying to save on cost only to build something that will sell you negatively. I like talking about selling your brand to the negative. Yani everyone who sees it feels like, I won't like this brand. I won't like to work with this brand. I won't like to be associated with this particular brand. So just ensure that when people land onto your website, please, they are able to relate with it. There is something called email signature. I know many of you know about it. When you're writing an email, down there at the end where you say maybe warm regards, so and so of this particular organization, whatever, you can always put your website address down there. You can put some tagline, whatever. You can put something that identifies your organization. That also helps, even if you are just responding to an email group. Yes, maybe you are put in some mailing list and you're responding. It helps people to identify that, there is this organization here. What is it that they are doing? Why? Because you always want, your first goal is awareness. Let people be aware that there exists such an organization. Something that amazes me. Somebody wakes up to introduce themselves and they do not want to mention the organization. Or if they are going to mention it, then they say, I run maybe an organization or a business called, or we are in some business which is called. It's like, it's small. It's a small thing. The way you introduce it, it's just some tiny thing that is struggling. No, just be proud of it. Remember, people buy your enthusiasm. So we provide training. Our organization is Live Your Dream, and all such like things. You need to let people know about your particular organization. Yes, and talk of it as an organization, not some small organization that is growing. I hear some people talking about sometimes we run some outfit. Then why do people do business? Why should they want to do business with some small outfit somewhere? I don't even know what outfit means. I always struggle to understand what it means. So please talk about your organization. And it's always important to have some tagline that you can relate with. And by the way, if you do not have an online presence, you do not have a website, social media is good. And you can always do the name, logo, branding, whatever. But everyone can create that. But very few people who want to swindle people will go to the extent of investing in a website. Website is what centralizes and brings together all these social media links. Remember, sometimes you people know who are on social media and more so Twitter, that sometimes people say, hey, this is his official Twitter handle. And you realize that, oh no, that is another one that is masquerading. Is this William Ruto's Twitter. No, this is not. Is this the official State House Twitter? So what will make people to trust just some social media somewhere? But when they can get it from your website, because you are in charge of that domain, in charge of that particular, those particular pages, then they click it from there, then they know this is the official one. Maybe you started one earlier, which is even much different, and you lost some other credentials or whatever it is. You always want to centralize your social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, everything else. You put them together so that people can trace you and they can find you and they say, well, this is somebody we can do business with. But if you are not, yes, you just feel people will trust because they got it on Facebook, you are not very serious about building your brand. Yeah, yes. Then the other thing, a common mistake I see people do, and this is also, to me, some of these things are really painful. Yeah, you're doing something for your organization, maybe you're collecting some information, but then you're using Google Form. Anyone can organize a Google Form. What relates it to your organization? Is it because you just pasted your logo there? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. What does it show about you? It shows there is some incompetence. It shows there is some degree of lack of trust and something like that. You better have a way that you can always integrate these things into your website so that it is authentic. Nobody is going to ask about it and doubt whether it's something that is genuine. Yeah, so we can always have these forms in a particular manner. Then comes the merchandise. One thing I always try to do, I say, if I'm going to put on a t-shirt as an entrepreneur, it better be branding me, my organization, or branding an organization I believe in. Yeah, and that's why I could get different t-shirts. People can donate for me t-shirts, but they give them to me, then I go give them to somebody else. Maybe because I've not bought that particular brand. You see, so when you're putting on, I've seen entrepreneurs, you put on t-shirts that don't belong to you. Yes, somebody is putting Sengenge Ningombe, somebody is putting on ODM. Oh, maybe you are in ODM. Well, that's fine. Yeah, you put UDA, you put on all sorts of t-shirts, and sometimes you talk to these small business people who are starting up. Say somebody is a painter, and this painter, for heaven's sake, only wants to put on an overall for Crown paint. Crown is already budgeting with their own marketing department how they are going to promote their brands, and they've brought it to you. Why can't you also take time to brand yourself and find a way that people are going to relate with you, and you put your telephone number there? You see, recently I was talking to some electrical guy. These are people who are selling electricals down there in Nairobi, downtown. And you always find them branding themselves with the organizations that distribute to them, and to them they find that very normal. It can't be normal if you have an organization that you've given a name. You've got to also make your own overall and have your name there, have your logo there, have your color there. It's part of what we call in marketing physical evidence, one of the P's. What is it that people can see and relate with as far as tangible? Yeah, people come to your house, they will only see all the other brands, all people branded. Do you ever wonder why LG or Samsung will have to put their logo on their TVs and phones and things like that? It's because it's part of what is branding them. So you want to do the same. Just ensure that as much as you can, and I know this is something that is heavy, that is where people like Immaculate come in. Maybe you want some cups. You're going to donate something to some organization. why can't you have it branded with your organization's image or logo or something like that? So let's be people who are careful. What is it that we are marketing? What is it that we are branding? You'll find that enough people, by the way, enough Kenyans don't even read what is on their t-shirts. Yeah, or whichever the attire you're putting on. You realize that somebody is, for example, marketing condoms. Yeah, but they don't seem to care. They don't seem to know. While if you ask them, they really didn't think about it. They would have thought better. They would have used a different one. Yeah. At one point, I was attending. There was something to do with banks. I was attending one, so it was either an ABSA thing or equity thing. Yeah, I remember. Then appearing with a different umbrella that belongs to a different organization was looking. I think it was somebody I was giving an umbrella. Yeah. No. This one, it wouldn't be acceptable where I am because it's going to a particular, yeah, I think it was Stanbic. You are going to a Stanbic meeting. You cannot, whether it's raining or what, you cannot use Equity umbrella, Equity Bank's umbrella. So think about it. If you can have an umbrella for your organization, you're going to attend a bank's meeting, you better have that particular umbrella. You have a notebook. You better have your own notebook when you're going to. But I've seen people, you come with your own ABSA, unless you're working in ABSA or you really love the brand you're promoting it. You come with your ABSA notebook, but you belong to a particular organization. Does it make sense? It doesn't at all. So let's think about all those other things. And blogs, for example, when you're writing a blog, that is something, when you have a website, you want things that take people to your website. You draw traffic to your website. They don't just grow. You must lead people. You can put blogs on your website and then share the links and people will go to that particular website. And the same thing happens even with forms. You can share and that leads people to your website. On social media, you share the links that lead people to your website because you want more and more people to lead to be on your website. They will possibly read something. Say you did like Melvin does Money Matters. They read and then they say, hey, this is somebody who is credible. Maybe we need to call him to provide for our company some training on money matters. You see, but you will write something, maybe Joe here, dealing with land. You can write something about how the problems that people meet in purchasing of land. And then you share that, use a blog in your website, then people read and then they feel like this is somebody you want to trust. Yeah, then they buy from you. So we must always endeavor to ensure that people are finding it easy to trust us. We are building that credibility through every communication that goes out, and it's got to be consistent. Not that today your mission is this, tomorrow your mission is that, and whatever, you see. And I'd like to, because of time is really gone, I'd like to stop it there, but there are lots of things, by the way, yeah, including bank account. When people are paying you, why would they pay and see a different name or see your personal name and they are paying your organization? Just go and open a bank account so that when they pay, they see that they've paid an organization. You see, having a letterhead, for example. Yeah, I know enough people always rush to business cards, which is a good thing. But enough of us don't even keep those business cards, even if you gave them to us. But what if you started writing to us some email? What if when we are paying, we see that we paid this organization? It starts making the clients to build relationship with your company as opposed to you. What if when you are going to pay something, you pay using your organization? Yes, you can write a check because you are paying for the organization. You can write a check for your organization, or you do online payment, but it will show that it's from this particular company. Not that it was to so-and-so's M-Pesa. Yeah. I believe some of those things will help some of you because we have like 7 minutes. I'd like to stop there. If somebody has a question, You can either put it in the chat or raise up your hand and speak it out, or comments.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's very true. For example, I'm a huge fan of Vivo, the clothing line, and you'll realize it's not like it's the only clothing line that is there, and very many women trust them, but it just turns out. You go to, say, Garden City, and then you're just taking a turn, and the first thing you're seeing is orange. Color, 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 color. And it's so eye-catchy, and you'll go in, definitely you will come out with something. Why? Their branding. They just stand out. Java stands out. Like, I mean, it's so easy for me to Google where a Java is than where an art cafe is. Not that art cafe is bad, art cafe is also good. But for me, I have bought into Java. Okay, Dr. Eda, I can see you raise your hand.
Yeah, thank you very much for that excellent presentation. I have a question that has been bothering me because, yeah, I'd like to know. There are people who seem to like you and you seem to have the same values, but most of your business comes from referrals of happy clients. For example, you can be in a pro-family, pro-life organization. You can be in Power Monday and you give a presentation and people are so excited and so happy. But when you're giving a webinar, none of them attend, neither do they refer anybody to you. And so I find that very interesting. What's the reason behind that? Because on the surface, is it that they're pretending? You all belong to the same WhatsApp group, the same organization on WhatsApp, but none of them will refer to you a single client, because you have, we have that part in our forms, who referred you. So for example, in Wastahili Family Wellness Center, majority of our clients come from other happy clients. Yet we know so many people, we have family members, but none of them refer a single person to us. So maybe you can tell me the psychology behind that, which I don't understand.
Thank you very much, Daktari. Two things, or maybe three. One is, if you watch TV, every single day you will see an advert for Safaricom. Why do they do adverts every day? All these major organizations. Why do they spend so massively, and yet almost everyone knows about them? Because you want to be, this is why people will always try to even give a notebook to their prospects, because you want them to always think about you whenever that particular opportunity arises. You see, but many of us, we do marketing once in a month. You will post there. Even when we call, for example, per Monday, the first Wednesday of the month, that people should come and share about their business or something like that. They don't come. They feel people already know. What if you were running Safaricom? You would cut the marketing budget. Everyone already knows us. It doesn't work like that. You must let people always, because it's not your business they're doing their businesses, but they have to have a reason to remember you. The question is, if somebody asked for a counselor or for counseling services, is your name, is Wastahili the first name that is going to come into their minds? If you built that particular trust, if you built that particular visibility, that is what comes to their mind. Maybe not. And that's why there is always that consistency that is required. If you do it once in a week, you do it once in even on Wednesdays, when we say that today, it's a day when people share about their businesses. How many do? We don't. By the way, I came to learn that there are enough bakers, for example, in Power Monday was up group, but we don't know them. The other day I posted about a friend of mine reached out she's one of my clients. She's given me lots of clients for web related services. And she reached out because she trusts me. And that's what I say. People will always buy things from me because they've already trusted you. I'm looking for somebody to revamp a CV for a particular youth, I think so, because they wanted to apply for a particular job. I kept thinking, who is this that is going to be able to do this? I thought of Melvin. I called Melvin. I was not able to reach him. And then I posted in Per Monday, and people just popped up, and I remembered, oh, Christine is here. Oh, so-and-so is here. And the first people who came in, I forwarded, I linked them up, and I think they are doing well. The question is, do they remember? Then the other thing is, if they bought you enough. So that's why you need to do it again and again and again. The other thing is, the other thing about that is, there is what we call prophet at home syndrome. Yeah. Sometimes when you are starting a business, by the way, Dr. Eda, your family may not necessarily believe in you. It will take them ages to come believe in you. That's why Jesus had a problem in his own country, in his own village. You see, they feel like, Sasa, what is it that you can tell us? You see, they know you more than what you are displaying outside there. Yeah? I can tell you for sure, I don't think I've ever done any business in my hometown of Kindu Bay. They know I do training and I train business people, but I've never done that. So it's okay. That is part of the story. And when you're building, that's why you are building a brand, so that people who are distant, yes, people who are in Jericho, not in Capernaum, people who are in the Sidon area, the Gerasin, the people from outside will be able to buy you better and trust you. But if you think of your friends will pick it from you better than your immediate family, maybe your siblings or something. Some families are different, by the way. This is not blanket statement. Some families are different, will support each other to the teeth. But enough of the families will just behave like the family of Jesus. You see, the village of Jesus. So those are things you need to know. But most importantly, even to your family, the more you persist in doing it and you talk about it, later they will be able to buy. But remember, you've got to do it consistently every day, because you are probably the only marketer in your business. What is it that you do every day to make your brand visible? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are short of time. And I also think apart from just people buying from you, there has to be quality, because you can't just do something for the sake of and then expect people to buy from you. Please, we also want quality. So I will support you, yes, but is this thing of quality? Huh? So I will call upon my brother Maurice Omondi. Sorry, I almost call you Moses. Maurice Omondi, who is going to give us a vote of thanks. And Maurice, I can't wait for that time that you will be the one on Power Monday talking to us, giving us a talk. It is very soon. I am really, really waiting for you. Maurice Omondi.